everybody, and welcome to the L-5 podcast. We are back with another episode of a full feature film. Tonight's film that we are going to review is Without Remorse, starring Michael B. Jordan and others on Amazon Prime.
I'm gonna make it right. There's something inside of me that I can't turn off. A part of me that won't stop for anything. No remorse.
This was Jeremy's pick. So Jeremy, you want to start off the conversation tonight and give us your 17-minute review?
Sure. Yes, I would love to. Thank you. So Without Remorse was my pick, obviously. I picked this movie because I'm a fan of the video games from Tom Clancy, the Rainbow Six, Rainbow Siege, Espionage, Metal Gear Solid, all those tactical games are sort of like what I like as a, if I'm not playing sports or playing stuff like that. So I'm used to the games, but I was not used to the movies at all. Only movies I saw, Hunt for Red October, and then the Jack Ryan series. I peeped a little bit of that, but I don't have a lot of extensive experience. So like I told the group, I saw on Amazon Prime, every time I logged in, this Michael B. Jordan trailer with him and Navy SEALs doing some stuff. I'm like, what is Without Remorse? I don't know what it's about. So I'll check it out. So that's kind of the origin of why I picked the movie. I think he's a good actor, but I wanted to see if this was the right fit for him, because he can be casted into roles that I think fit him, but sometimes, as we know, they might not fit, the actor. So 17 minutes. The first reaction I said was, I laughed. I was like, I think we stopped at a crazy stopping point, because I remember like it was the infiltration of his house, and he's sitting there, with his headphones, and there was a kind of crazy scene where a lot of the times we stop at 17 and it's like a smooth transition, but I remember like we stopped on the dot at like, this man's family's about to be, what. So I put in my notes, crazy stopping point. I don't know what's going to happen next, because I think I do, but you never know. I put a couple other bullet points I put was action. So, him being a elite Navy SEALs, vet, like I saw a lot of that, and I was like, okay, action is cool, but I expected that from a movie that's about espionage. So that was cool. We got that from the jump, diving in the water. You get to meet his team. You don't get a lot of detail, but you get enough. But one thing I put was that it wasn't enough for me to know who he is. And so I didn't necessarily know who Michael B. Jordan's character is, other than his name, and that he's very skilled at tactical stuff. Like I don't know what he likes. I don't know what music he likes. I don't know what culture he so all of those things I was expecting to know more of as my main character. The last thing I put was you can tell that this movie was something in which there's going to be heavy emphasis on the action and editing of the clips of the action, more so than character development. And I was like, I think that's okay. That's what I signed up for when looking for a Tom Clancy video game based. There's a book about, different things like that, but I didn't expect heavy character development. But I at least wanted to know who Jodie's character is. I want to know who Michael B. Jordan's character is. And then I want to know the protagonist and some other, people who are coming in there. But I gave it a 3 so far. It wasn't like a 4 or 5 for me yet. It didn't really strike me as a, man, this is good yet, but it is like, okay. So I put it right in the middle at 3. And I was okay with that. I didn't expect anything else. So.
Okay.
I'll go. Okay, so my 17 minutes. So the first thing I want to say is just to kind of piggyback off what Jeremy was saying is I wrote that I was going into this blind. And so I thought Tom Clancy wrote books. So now I don't, so that'll be interesting how this plays out towards the end. But anyway, so I said, I was wondering if this was going to be Hurt Locker-esque. So initially when what we were seeing, I was like, is this going to be like a Hurt, like I had no idea what this movie was about at all. So I thought maybe it was like going to be a Hurt Locker movie. I wrote, I'm interested in where this is going. I'm glad that they show the main character. Okay, so real quick, Jeremy, I don't know if we watched a little bit further than you, so you'll have to tell me, but I wrote, I'm glad that they show the main character getting shot. There was no way he could have come out of that unscathed. So I felt like everything that he went through, I was glad that they show his character actually being wounded, because Corey knows how I feel about that when we have 5 people fighting one and they eat from it, the one person one at a time, like them there. I said, should we have recognized the shooter by his eyes? Because I didn't. Like, am I supposed to know who that is? And I wrote, what language are the killers speaking? And why did one of them purposely get shot? I need answers. Interesting. So I think my overall review, as I try to move away from doing threes on everything, I said if at 17 minutes I was intrigued, I wanted to keep watching it, I would give it a 4. If I didn't care, I would give it a 2. So at this point, I was giving it a 4. I got a lot of questions that I need answers to, and I'm interested in finding out. So that was
okay. Well, I'll piggyback on both what you guys are saying. For the first 17 minutes, I said that it was good action. Love Michael B. Jordan. I think he just brings some really good presence to any role that he actually does. I really, really do like him. It caught my attention so far. The action is right up in your face. Which, by the way, we're going to spoil this.
Warning, 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 warning.
So, what in the first 17 minutes, what I said right when we stopped was, he should be dead.
Right.
And it just felt really real. He was being ambushed, and when he jumps in there with the guy and they both start shooting at close range like that, I was like, there's no way that he didn't get shot. And so you see him struggling, you see him in pain, you see the other guy struggling, you see him in pain. I like the realism of that. And the fact that he got shot, that really grabbed me right there and tied me to the character more, and made me invested in him. And then I said, I know ATL is busy, but dang, no one. Oh, so when the guys are being picked off, right, by the villains, and the guy's driving the car in the middle of Atlanta, and he gets shot. I'm like, I know everybody's in their own world driving down the street, but nobody saw this guy jump out of the back of a van and shoot him in front of everybody. Nobody honked a horn. Nobody, nothing. I was like, wow, okay, that was a little crazy. So at this point, I liked the espionage stuff. I liked all the Navy SEAL stuff at the beginning. I thought that was really great. What really caught me was just the action. And so I'm giving it 3.5 stars in the first 17 minutes. I was in for the ride. I was enjoying it so far.
Okay, I'll go next. Well, when you say about Atlanta, he shot, if someone was actually doing that, the first thing you'd be like is duck and cover. I mean, I'm not sure if someone came out of a truck with guns. I'm like,
help you.
I'm not helping anybody. I'm like, I'll call the police once I'm calm to safety, but that's it. And about the movie itself, though, within that 17 minutes, I kind of knew what it's going to be about, because like Jeremy, it's been popping up every time I brought up Amazon Prime. It was like, oh, Remorse. And I knew the gist, like, okay, he's going to lose his wife and he's going to go ham on everybody. So I knew that was going to happen. So it wasn't any kind of surprise on that part of it. But the whole thing was like, so I know the storyline for the most part. Are you going to make me, is it going to be good enough for me to continue watching it? And so for that first 17 minutes, it was good action. I liked the fact that they had a woman there, as one of the soldiers too. So I was like, oh, okay. And immediately, I know I was wrong, spoilers, wrong about it, but I was like, evil Billy Elliot when I saw that guy. And some of the stuff he was saying, I was like, oh gosh, he's a dick. So I just thought that, but that was probably kind of obvious, trying to make him seem like he was like that too. But when all the people started getting picked off, and I was a little bit late until y'all said, oh, that's why I don't do garb. I wasn't ready for it. But when that happens, like, oh my gosh, just picking everyone off. And then with him, I was like, so for the rest of them, we can just kill just them. But for him, they're gonna have to go in the house. And I mean, I know in the end that was part of the whole thing, I guess. So because they actually killed when they're on there to make it, so that was probably planned. But I was like, out of all of them, that's the one you're gonna have to kill, who his family member too, and not just him. But that's gonna have to move the plot along. And I did like the fact that he was injured, because a lot of times it is just one guy and I killed 20 people and not a scratch, but the fact that he actually had to go to the hospital, that he had to, he was hospitalized, it was actually a little bit more realistic. And overall, at that first 17-minute mark, I was like, okay, I knew she was going to die. I mean, and it's like, but you still keep me interested. So I would say it's at least a 3. So I wanted to keep on watching it.
So it's 17. I was a 4 also, Dana. And so I wrote that an awful lot happens immediately. It gets our main guys ready for an outside, as that sets up the main character as an outsider in his own company, which turns out people are keeping secrets from him, which is a surprise twist for a Clancy film, right? I mean, everybody's always secret. The main guy's always trying to figure out who's doing them wrong. But the trailer had enough turns to pack a whole trilogy. There were so many things in the trailer that just seemed like there was a lot of stuff that was going to be packed into this thing. Because I saw that trailer a few times too. But the first set piece was really weirdly, beautifully lit for a really dark building. The one where the SEAL team comes up out of the fountain. It's kind of
well or fountain,
well, okay, underground tunnels to the well.
Water hole.
It was, but it was cool, right?
It was.
It really was.
But the other thing that was weird was when he was listening to his headphones, the soundtrack was mixed in such a way you couldn't hear any singing, but we watched the movies with subtitles. It's like you're reading the subtitles for music you can't hear the words to.
Right.
So that was kind of distracting for me. But anyway, for all the action, the movie was loaded with a lot of gratuitous deaths, which isn't my thing. But I'm going with a 4 anyway, because it was really kind of delivering on what an action-packed Tom Clancy type movie is supposed to be. So that seemed pretty solid for this, even though we had to also sit through a gratuitous barbecue scene where we meet basically all the people who are either going to screw us or be killed.
Yeah.
But nobody mentioned the barbecue scene. They even packed a barbecue party in this thing.
Yeah. So what's funny is I'm sitting here looking through our Discord when we were talking about this movie, and here's some of the things that we said in the first 17 minutes. So, of course, Stacy, Billy Elliot is an ass. Brian, and this was funny because both Dana and I, when we were watching this, we were completely shocked, and this is great because it puts you in that mood of what this movie is going to be like. As Brian said, I will never take out the garbage again. And when that guy got hit while he's taking out the garbage, we both jumped. It was like, oh my God, didn't see that coming at all, And then Dana said, that's why I'll never take it out. Jeremy had to turn on his subtitles. Wow, crazy. Things like that. So there's a lot of shocking things that was going on in the first 17 minutes. But I mean, just to continue the conversation, the best thing that had going for this movie for me was the action scenes. Like the action was just like top notch, But I will say this. I changed the name of this movie to Without Remorse. What did I call it? Without Remorse and Full of Convenience. There was so much convenience in this movie the whole time. It's like he got out of everything, or there just happened to be something there to get him out of a certain situation, or a person to get him out of a certain situation. And the moment where the movie started to turn for me a little bit because of the convenience or because of the not really so believable plots was the moment where he is following the guy to the airport and he jumps into a burning car. And I'm like, A, there's no way he would have jumped into that burning car. B, it's hot as hell. I know there's no way. You know, there was too much that was going on there. I was like, this is impossible.
But tell them what you said, what we talked about, Corey. Like, if you've ever been in a car and driven past a fire.
Yes.
Do you know how hot it feels? And we're like, I've been on the highway. I remember I was going down 85 and a car was on the shoulder and had caught on fire. And all I did was drive by and I felt that heat. Now,
yes.
Can you imagine what it would have felt like to be in the car?
Yes.
Like, ew, I was like, this is bull.
Not a drip of sweat, not, anything like that.
You had no remorse.
The window started to crack a little bit, but that was about it.
Like Dana said, there's no Navy SEALs training that tells you to jump in. You can go underwater. Obviously, it's Navy, so it's water. But I was like, what is that? I would have played that out way differently. So I didn't hear from your point, Corey, but I felt that moment is kind of a climax. Like, why are we choosing that to show his bravado, to show his
exactly.
I didn't like that, so I agree with you.
And him pouring the gasoline onto the car before he starts it. I'm like, nobody again. Atlanta, nobody sees this guy getting shot, get out of the back of the van. But nobody saw this guy pouring gasoline out of a car and then throwing the thing. Like, nobody.
At the airport of all places. You can't even stop for 5 seconds, let alone get out and pour gasoline.
And you go jump out of the car and throw your hands up and go, Navy SEALs, Navy SEAls. Bro, you would have got shot.
Was he wearing gloves or anything? When he was opening those doors,
no.
He wasn't wearing, and I was like, I burned myself once, and there it is, and I still have the mark, and it was just, and I've never fried again because I was grease, and it was just like, and I put it under water immediately, and I still had a burn.
Yeah,
hands fine.
See,
adults,
and he's in the prison, and he has the whole fight scene in the prison cell, and then all of a sudden somebody just shows up right when he's getting ready to get shot by all these people with these guns or rubber bullets or whatever it is. Oh, we're gonna come help you. We need you. We have a call for you or whatever. I'm like, too many conveniences. Way too many.
Did he work this out in his mind? Was he like, okay, so the plan is to do this. I'm gonna get a name. Then I'm gonna go to prison, but I know they're gonna let me out because I'm gonna have this piece of information that somebody's gonna want. It was just, and then especially in the prison when he was in there with the Russian guys who wanted to kill him. Yeah. Let me tell you, I don't know what prison this is, but they had no guns. Apparently or whatever. So I was like, okay, this is different. I don't know. But he would have been dead. Y'all, like all this, before that first person came to visit him, he would have been dead. I don't know. It was just so unreal. So again, we got 5 guys coming in there who were trying to, I guess, pull him out of the room and do whatever. They've got like the little battle shields and sticks. But he defeats all of them with a wet floor. Yeah.
All he needed to do is just wet that floor. That puts him back into that Navy SEALs mode, and he just becomes Superman. He can do whatever he wants or whatever.
Water is his power.
Water is his power, I guess, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. That writes everything off. So, but I'm not saying that because of all the conveniences that were happening in this movie that I didn't enjoy it. I still enjoyed the movie because of Michael B. Jordan. I felt like his acting was really good. And he was the best part of the movie. And the action set pieces that they had there were really gripping and exciting. Like especially the airplane scene, the airplane crash and it turning upside down and him trying to, find the gear that he needed, which I'm like, you just had to have that gear, like so bad, whatever, but I liked all of that. So there are things about it that I like. And I liked what we were talking about, what's her name? I just had it. Jodie Turner-Smith, who was also in Queen and Slim. She was a very strong character, very just you know, just strong in her ability of commanding and leading and helping him out and doing these different things. I was waiting for her to actually turn possibly at one point, so I really liked her role and her presence there, or whatever. So there are things like that I really enjoy, but there was a lot of conveniences going on in this movie.
With the conveniences and the character building, I think the thing that's missing is that there's this relationship between those two characters that is all set up off screen. Yeah. It's all set up like in the 3 years leading or 4 years leading up to this, where the film starts. So it's like we're watching book 2.
Yes.
Instead of book 1.
Yeah.
And so I think that I think for audiences who are coming in not familiar with the characters or the books, I couldn't tell you if there's a book that comes before this particular story, but the spoilers. There are books and video games. Jeremy, you mentioned Rainbow Six that come after, and this film does set up a second movie. There's kind of a controversy right now if they're gonna do the second movie or not, because of COVID stopped production. But I was reading, do you know that it's been canceled?
Oh no, I was saying maybe it should be. I mean, I don't know. Like, I was just, unless they figure out a better way to do this, because like Corey was mentioning that plane scene. Now, here's the thing about the plane scene that I liked and at the same time didn't. Okay, he's a Navy SEAL, so we have expectations that he can hold his breath better than we can, right? So get that. That's great. And I loved how they did show where he would go and get the little bits of air. But at some point, I was like, okay, now I'm not sure we're not stretching the truth here. Yep. Like there was some point I felt like I expected at that end that he would kind of die and be revived when he got up top, because I felt like he had overstayed his breath. And so I felt like his travel to the top, I was expecting like
a little more struggle.
A little more struggle. Not only that, but like where he was and where he came up, everybody just happened to be all in the same place. Like I don't know. Like they were just, like Corey said, this movie was filled with so many conveniences, and honestly, it did detract from the movie for me, because I feel like the storytelling is not as good if the main character can get in. If I'm magical and can do any and everything I want to, then it kind of lose. Where's my struggle? Where's my thing? Like everything is going to fall into place no matter what decisions I make. It kind of doesn't have the same thing. And then y'all may have to remind me, because I may be remembering this wrong. But like the package that he was so insistent on getting, was it that the one that he was carrying towards the end or whatever that had the like bomb in it or whatever? Do y'all even know? The book bag he had that he threw and kept trying to get? And I was like, okay, so maybe that's why he wanted to hold on to it so bad. But then when he uses it, it's like poof. Like I don't know. It felt like something. I don't know.
That's so funny. I don't remember that at all. I don't remember a book bag.
The book bag, y'all. That was such a big part.
It's only been a few days since we've seen it. It's kind of funny.
I just remember.
Corey, do you remember?
That's at least a week.
A week. Yeah.
Or you have to remember it was on the wrong floor and he was trying to get to the floor to get it on the staircase. Jeremy?
What I thought was that the bomb was like the grenades were in there, so that was his way of like trying to make. So he didn't have any C4, so he was like, I need this book bag to explode like the lobby or something. What I was confused about was like he just tossed it, like you said, poof, like. Yeah. Bro, you almost lost your life 3 times trying to like you didn't have no grenades. But again, storytelling, y'all, the way the story set up, it didn't matter, because by the time he got to the bottom, like Corey said, he didn't kill about 17 people and the little grenade. I mean, I don't. Yeah, so I didn't understand what the book bag was for. And I also like, if you have a relic or something in the movie or something like that matters, it could be a USB drive with classified files. Hell, that's part of like, so that's where I got confused, because I originally thought, like when I was watching it, I was like, is there something in the bag that he needs to turn in to like the governor? Like, you know, him and the governor got this like, you know, beef or something. Maybe he needs to turn in the file or something. He throw the grenade. I'm like, okay, everything's exploded. So I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
And I'm mad that the rest of y'all didn't even know the bag existed.
I remember now. I remember the bag because he threw it down the stairs or up to the next floor or something and had to get to it. I remember now that, but
Okay, what's the question? Because I mean, I know we say that there's been a lot of conveniences or whatever, but to me, most action films like that, they always have something that's convenient. Do you have an example of a movie where there weren't a lot of conveniences when it was like that? When it's a big action film?
Like, I would have to research and maybe come back to you, but you're right. Like, I think a convenience is fine. Like, there's going to be some expectation, but there's not a thing he did that wasn't movie convenience.
yeah,
like,
I think
nothing.
if
his thinking and his decisions, even down to the book bag, they didn't seem rational. They didn't seem to make any kind of sense why anybody would think that this would work, but it did. So me as a viewer, I feel like the only reason it worked is because the movie wanted it to. Like, not because it in any way, shape, or form would have ever worked out for him at all. So that was kind of like some convenience, obviously, because we have to suspend belief when we're watching this kind of stuff. But for him, it just felt like somebody's making these decisions that don't make sense, and it's working out for him every time. Please help me understand.
Yeah, I think there was another shot or sequence where he was like flying around the outside of the building somehow, or it might have been a hallway, or the multiple floors, multiple levels of something, and it was just really way out there, the stunt work that was happening. I think that if a character's in a tricky situation, I think it's more rewarding if it seems like they're being very clever about solving the problem. And I think that what we're feeling is that it seems like all of these solutions are just sort of handed over, or just like, somebody shows up in the right spot, and some of that being in the right place at the right time, you might be able to explain away by, well, this is a very coordinated strike team and everybody's watching each other's backs and all that stuff, but it wasn't that coordinated.
A little bit more character development of the main characters there to make me more care about them. Then maybe that will help me distract me from some of the inconveniences, because I'm glad.
Even if I don't care about you, give me good action. Give me good, like, just to Brian's point, like I want to feel like you're smarter than me.
Yeah.
When I'm watching, because if you're not, you got a big problem. Like, I've never been a Navy SEAL, and this, all this stuff, I would surely be killed. But if I feel like you're just as dumb as I am, and it's just happened to be working out for you, I don't know. It just it doesn't work for me. Speaking of which, let me just say this, and y'all can tell me how you feel about this. But I really felt like when they were in the building and the people, the snipers across the street were shooting them, and they had this great idea to blow a hole in the wall to go next door, which I think we've seen 15 billion times. I was like, since you have that to go through a wall, you could probably go through the floor. So why not drop down a level where they're not expecting you, they're not in the hallway, versus going next door? Like, I felt like, I was like, come on, that's the kind of stuff, like, and I don't think that's that brilliant by any means, but that's the kind of stuff that makes, give me something that, that I would think, oh wow, that's a good idea. I wouldn't have expected that. Or
Dana, do you mean the ground floor? Because the police were down at the bottom.
No, one level down.
Oh, okay.
Just one
aren't
level.
they coming up?
They just.
So if you went to the other building, wouldn't it be better anyway?
What? I didn't hear. Sorry.
If they're in the building and the police are in the building, if you go down, your police are going to meet the police because they're all in the same building. But if you blow a hole through the building next door, you go there, the police are not going to be in that next building.
So, and maybe this is where I don't, because Corey can vouch for this. I was like, where the hell are they?
Yes, me too.
I thought it was one building and the people were across the street. But when he went up on the roof, I thought he hopped into I don't know where they were. So from my perspective, they were in one building. The snipers were across the street. And yes, the people down below will eventually catch up to you, but you'll have time to prepare because the snipers won't be shooting you in the face. Now, you still got these people coming up to you where you were and the snipers shoot you in the face. At least if you go down a level, you get a minute to figure out whatever it was you're going to do. But to your point, Stacey, it's funny because I got confused and where the commanding sergeant, I assume she was his lead, I don't know, where she was when she ran into the guy who was sitting in a room. I was like, are they now in a different building? I have no idea.
Yeah, I was just, yeah. Me too, Dana.
Yeah.
But again, that just goes into all, no. So anyway, long story short, I gave this movie a 2.5 because it didn't work. It didn't work, guys. Like,
what are you trying to say, Jeremy?
No, I was going to answer Stacey's question. I think Hurt Locker, again, I know we keep bringing it up, but Jeremy Renner did a good job of making you feel like this brother is going to defuse a bomb. Hurt Locker, without giving it away, there's moments where Jeremy Renner rolls up to a situation, and because he is defusing bombs or has to kill somebody or does something, you feel the suspense. You feel that, like Dana was saying, like it ain't a dumb move because he's trained in this. You actually believe him. Mm-hmm. And I remember Hurt Locker been out for almost a decade in a while, but I remember these vivid scenes of like, bro, if I pull the red cord or I snap the wrong one, me and you and this little boy is gonna blow up. And I was like, what I would never know what that's like, but it was believable. And that convenience part of what Corey was saying of like, it's not handed to you. He like, that's what I think is a good example, Stacey, because it makes it feel like, okay, if he gets killed, at least he did it in honor of his country. At least he's like, so in this movie, I felt the opposite because I felt like because we title it Without Remorse, like it's without earn. So he doesn't earn anything. And it's more so like things are handed to him because he's an elite Navy SEAL. That's literally what the description says. I'm like, that doesn't, like to me, that doesn't merit him making these crazy decisions. Again, another example of the hotel, not the hotel, but the building they were in, when he locked the rest of his teammates out and he went up there and said, I'm gonna handle this myself. Like I'm a G, I'm a go and kill the terrorists. And he goes in there and the guy's strapped full of C4s. And then he like, oh, now I'm stupid. So now and now homie, again, pretend this is a radiator. The homie says, okay, I'm gonna blow a boom, and he does it. And I'm sitting there like, Michael B. Jordan, like, bro, like your character is making these moves. And then, Jodie comes in and says, well, why'd you lock us out? So there's a lot of these like questionable, like, yo, you are trained, and yes, you're mad because your wife was killed, your family was killed, but you going into these scenes so crazy that to me, it doesn't, not only does it not show your training, but it shows the movie doesn't have control of what's going on. So I can't disagree with Dana's 2.5. Like I felt like it went down for me, but not because of the action, because of the dumbass decision making. Like you are trained, your team can only bail you out so much. And then at the very end, I know they set up for the next film, but if you lose people on this first Without Remorse, people ain't gonna check the next one. So I'm curious to see if people will tune into this sequel just based on the mediocre kind of job we got with this one. Not the actors, not the people are good. The actors can, act in various roles, but the way they were casted in this particular action film was like, so.
So I have two questions for Stacey. One, in the Discord, you said something ain't clean in the greens. What does that mean? That's the first question. And then the second question is, what did you think about everything after the first 17 minutes? Because it seems like we're just going on and on and on.
Well, for me, for the overall, the movie is like, okay, I'm not really into those kind of movies a lot, but I did like it in the end. I mean, not enough that what I expected from it. When I saw it, I was thinking, okay, this is, to me, it looked like a made for TV. It was really felt like a made for TV movie or made for streaming movie. And we're opening this up to do a whole new series. And hopefully it'll be more of a TV. I would prefer it was like a TV show series versus another set of movies, because then we can get some character development. Then we can get some more insight. Because there's other people I want to know more about, like how they get into it, how, you know, a lot more of the character development. So I was just thinking it as more of a building block kind of a movie. Not once it was done, I was like, okay, it's just a building block, a stepping stone to something else. Not necessarily a good movie on its own, you know, just like, oh, this is a wonderful movie. It's just like, to me, just a stepping stone a stepping stone kind of a movie. What I said, there's something, I said, the Queen, not Clean the Greens, was when he was talking to, I think, I wasn't sure if it was the point when he was talking to the, to the politician guy in the restroom, or it could be before that. Something was going on where I was thinking somebody is lying. I mean, I knew someone was lying, but somebody who I was getting off of Billy Elliot, that he was not that he wasn't really the true villain of the movie, or someone else. And that's what it is. Like, everything looks fine, but something's wrong. And I was like, that's why something ain't clean the greens. Or I think there's something that's called like something they clean the milk or something like that. But I've heard the whole something ain't clean the greens. And if something's not clean the greens, then, you know, it's usually bugs in it. That's what it basically. If no one's clean the greens, it's going to be bugs in it. That's what it basically means. You've done a lot of work and a lot of cooking for nothing. So that's what something's not clean the greens.
It was probably that airport thing.
It was probably what?
The airport scene when homie said, I ain't getting on the plane with y'all.
And that might have been it.
That's true. Exactly. I was like, suspect, right? I'll meet y'all there.
Yeah. Exactly.
that might have been a part of it, because it's like something was going on. I was like, something's right. Something's not right. So
yeah, I remember laughing when you said that. When that scene went off, I was like, I think that's what she means. I didn't know what it meant.
I mean, that's why. I can't remember the exact scene, but that was probably was it. That something's not right. So something ain't clean the greens.
That's true. Right. That's a good point. So final score. So Dana said 2.5. Jeremy, you were at.
I'm gonna stay with 2.5. It went down a half a point. I wasn't satisfied with the things I explained. So
okay. Stacy, where are you at?
I would say it was at least a 3 for me. Well, at least at most a 3 for me, because I think my the only person I would like recommend my dad. It's like, hey, I think he might like this. Yeah. And it'd be kind of more up his alley. But if it was just anybody else, or probably more like 2.5.
I'm waiting on my dad to text me and be like, did you see Without Remorse? That was good. Brian, where are you at?
I went down to a 3 also. I'm glad I saw it. I think that if this is part of a big library of films, or even better, a TV show, I think that, you know, they're building up the catalog of content, you know. So I'm glad I saw it, because it did have some really interesting sequences in there. I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, I'm at a 3 as well. I'm glad I saw it. I'd probably recommend it to someone, like Stacey was saying, like to my dad or something like that, if they were just interested in it. But I wouldn't go out of my way to like, oh, you got to see this movie or whatever. I will say, however, too, that last line in the movie where she's like, so what are you going to do? He's like, oh, do what we do best, which is disappear. That's for disappear.
And so I was telling Corey, like, because there's something they allude to. It's something they said earlier when they were like, I guess, sneaking into Russia in the first place.
Yeah.
That they disappear, because that implies I've seen you and you've gone away.
Right.
They never are seen in the first place. And so I felt like that what he said didn't make any kind of sense.
It did.
It was like, y'all trying to make t-shirts. This isn't working. I was embarrassed.
That like, again, maybe the reason I rated it low as well. The video games are so good, y'all. Like, I know it's subjective if you don't play video, but like the quality of these games are top notch. And so when I see the film, kind of like I expect the film to be up there, and I was like, ugh. So I think, like, for me, like Corey just said, that line would never be in no Xbox or PlayStation. like if a brother ever said that in an Xbox or PlayStation game, I'm taking the game back. You disappear, like, no. So I don't know. Yeah, no.
Okay, there was one thing that he said that was like gave me Falcon and Winter Soldier vibes, was that when he was talking, I forgot who he was talking to, but it's like he said, like, we fight for a country that didn't love us. And I was like, we fought for what it could be. And I was thinking, okay, message. But for that one little bit, I had a little hope for the movie. and then it's like, okay, well, never mind. That was it.
They could have took that, Stacey. They could have took that.
I mean,
Is it still
representative of the movie? It didn't really know what it wanted to be in there.
Yeah. Well, it's still the traditional villains. It's easy to make them the Russians. You know, instead of ourselves. Yeah.
This was made in February 2021. You could have easily tied in some anyway. That's, you know, not to get too political, but you could have took it there. I don't know.
Yeah. No, needed a little bit more time, and it was kind of long too. It was a little long-winded because I think Jerry was like, they could have wrapped this up in like an hour 45 or something like that. So, all right, well, that was our review of Without Remorse and Full of Convenience on Amazon Prime. If you enjoyed the movie, leave a comment down below. Let us know what you thought about the film if you've seen it. And we will see you guys next time.